Welcome to Sports Talk.
Hello everyone, welcome to this Nick from TONT Sports, and today we're going to go over the 2022 running back prospects for this upcoming year's draft. I'm excited to hop into this one. I got all my notes ready. Okay, a lot of notes on these guys. I got my water ready because I know this video is going to be probably pretty long, so stay tuned, leave a like, and subscribe. Let me crack this thing open right now because my mouth, man, is going to be dry. Beautiful. Let's get this video underway. We got a lot of players to go over. I'm pretty sure I got about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 running backs. 16 running backs this year. We're going to go over my history, my scouting on running backs in previous years, all the history of everything I did, right, wrong, blah, blah, blah. You get to decide. And then we're going to hop into this year, my rankings. At the end of the video, I'll answer some of the questions that you guys left for me on our Instagram page. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I think we have one of those. I'm not too sure. I think we even have a TikTok. So if you want to go on the new media, all this new media stuff that I'm not used to, I'm like an old guy. So let's hop into this right now. Let's get this thing underway. All right. So here we go. The 2022 running back prospects by, yes, me. Who else would it be? Well, nobody else. Here we go. Let's hop right into this. So here is my track record. Yes, my track record. How beautiful. Let's start with 2017. On 2017, I had my number one running back as Leonard Fournette. My number two guy is Dalvin Cook. My number three guy is Christian McCaffrey. And my number four guy is Joe Mixon. I'll be honest with you. Up until probably this year, most people probably say my order was not terrible. Leonard Fournette definitely seems like possibly a bust. Not necessarily a bust. He just has not had the production that you would like to see. But everyone would have said, yeah, Dalvin, Christian, and Joe Mixon, that could be an appropriate order. But now Joe Mixon just got to the Super Bowl last year. He looked really good. Christian McCaffrey's been getting hurt a lot, so that's not so great. Dalvin Cook has been solid every season. Honestly, right now, if you had to rank them, you probably got to say Dalvin Cook's been the most reliable out of all of them. But Leonard Fournette probably should have been 4, let's be honest. And then I don't know how you would want to rank the rest. Joe Mixon really didn't break out until this year. But again, he didn't have a great team around him. And again, this is not based on how their careers would be. This is based on who I believe is the best prospect. So again, where they end up is a huge role on how they pan out. That's not what I'm predicting. 2018, I had Saquon 1, Ronald Jones 2, Nick Chubb 3, Rashad Penny 4, Kerryon Johnson 5, Bo Scarborough 6, and Royce Freeman 7. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Once again, Nick Chubb's panned out to be the best running back on this list. Now, was he the most talented? I still don't believe he was the most talented. He looks great in Cleveland. I absolutely love Nick Chubb. He's fast. He's physical. He's definitely by far the best running back out of that year's draft class. But he also went to a pretty dang good team. And you guys are going to say the Browns suck. Well, you think about what they did. They got a really good offensive line now. They had some weapons. They got a phenomenal defense. So he's in a really good situation. Unlike Saquon Barkley, who's been in an absolutely terrible situation with the New York Giants, where they have not had a quarterback. They have not had an offensive line. The dude's been getting hurt every year. And again, injuries play a part in it. But you got to understand, he's never had an offensive line to run with where Nick Chubb has. But again, I could be wrong. Again, take this as you will. But most people have Barkley as one that year. So again, my order's not too far off of what everyone else's was. 2019. I had Josh Jacobs 1, Miles Sanders 2, Dameon Harris 3, David Montgomery 4, Bryce Love 5. Jacobs definitely 1. I think most people would agree. David Montgomery probably should have been 2. And then Miles Sanders and Dameon Harris are on the same level. And Bryce Love, yes, he was 5. 2020, this one I absolutely love. I love Jonathan Taylor. I love DeAndre Swift. But Taylor was for sure my number 1. A lot of people disagree with me. Taylor was my number 1. I liked him from the beginning. I said he had breakaway speed, and you're going to see someone very similar to that in this year's draft, in my opinion. DeAndre Swift 2, Cam Akers 3, been injury plagued so far on the Los Angeles Rams. J.K. Dobbins 4. Dobbins been also a little bit hurt. A.J. Dillon 5. The guy's legs are like tree trunks. 6 was Clyde. 7 was Zach Moss. Go to 2021 last year. Let's see how I did. Najee Harris 1, Travis Etienne 2, Javonte Williams 3, Elijah Mitchell 4, Javion Hardens 5, Jarrett Patterson 6, Ramondre Stevenson 7, Chuba Hubbard 8, Kylan Hill 9, and Chris Evans 10. Well, I'm going to be honest, not too bad again. Again, that's my top 10. Now, I believe I did a lot more than 10 last year in last year's draft. I didn't list all of them. If you want to watch that, go back to last year's video. It's still up on YouTube. I do not delete it. Look. I think Najee was definitely number 1. Javonte Williams would probably be number 2, but Travis Etienne went down with an injury. Elijah Mitchell is my sleeper, ladies and gentlemen, and he's up there. Where's Trey Sermon's not listed in my top 10, really? Because I didn't think he was going to be that good. So I was right with that. Javion Hawkins had off-field issues. So I didn't know that. But again, I mean, you can blame me for that. Unfortunately, I can't interview these guys. Jarrett Patterson was one of my guys. Him and Mitchell were my two guys. All right, I got a my guys list, my sleepers that no one's really talking about that I really like. Patterson was a third string last year on the Washington football team. Now the Washington Commanders had an amazing preseason. I hope that he gets some action this year. Ramondre Stevenson, another guy that most people had a lot lower than I did. And the rest is the rest. All right. So now let's hop into this year. I'm sorry, you're going to hear me drinking water, maybe moving around, doing a little bit of everything, fluttering my papers. I give you the exact details of what I wrote up on these guys and what I think. So here we go. Let's hop into this. Here is my grading scale. This is what I base my grades off of. And this is after the complete scouting process. Quarterbacks is not always after the complete scouting process. I do them early in the year. Again, I'll give you a recap of all these guys right before the draft and my new rankings when they get updated. But right now, I base it on in-game speed, their trucking ability, their fighting ability, fighting for extra yards, fighting, moving the pile, their agility, their catching, and their vision. Everybody gets graded on these, my grade scale. Now, again, the grade scale that you're going to see is not my personal analysis. So if you want to see my personal analysis, wait until the end of the video. I'll give you the updated version of that at the very end of the video. So let's hop right into this now, and we're going to go to the first guy. The number one running back, according to my grade scale, is Breece Hall. Okay, let's see what I say. This kid is giving me some Jonathan Taylor flashbacks. Big, strong kid that seems like he can turn on the Jets. Powerful kid on the goal line who can also catch out of the backfield. You want to talk about a running back who can do everything? This is your guy. Can go north and south or east and west, can break tackles in the open field and fights for extra yards on almost every single play. This guy is going to be deadly in the red zone. Reminds me of Jonathan Taylor. Now, he's 5'11", 217, and ran a 4.39. Okay, so Jonathan Taylor, look, when I watched his film, I'll never forget it. I was sitting, this was back when I was in high school still. I'm sitting there, and I'm talking to my two friends watching his film, and I'm saying, hey, this guy's pulling away from everybody. He looks quicker than fast. And everyone said, not really. He doesn't look that fast to me, blah, blah, blah. He runs like a 4.39 40. I said the same thing with Breece Hall. He looks like he's fast to me. Runs a 4.39 40. Similar height. Breece Hall is an inch taller, actually. I don't know what their weights compare. I mean, again, he's 5'11", 217, and ran a 4.39. Jonathan Taylor's 5'10", and ran a 4.39. Very similar builds, and I absolutely love the way he plays. So what are his strengths? Well, as you can see here, I think he's strong. He has a stream downfield speed, a stream. I mean, he can go. You got someone trailing him by 2 yards. By the time they go the next 10 yards, he's trailing them out by 6 or 7 yards. I feel like his speed is just phenomenal. He's a goal line stud. He can catch out of the backfield, run out of the backfield. Hell, I bet you probably throw out of the backfield, but I'm not going that crazy just yet. Okay? He breaks tackles. He fights for extra yards when he's in the pile. He will push the pile and get the extra yards. His speed is clearly shown, not just on film, but also in the combine. He has great agility, and he can catch, right? He caught a lot in college. He has a lot of college production, maybe some wear and tear on his tires. But again, this guy is a pretty dang good guy. Now, one thing I didn't see him doing, a lot of this is going to be trucking. Everyone, I think, overrates this. I do have it as something. Do they run somebody over? When I watched Leonard Fournette, man, he would put people into the ground. I don't see that with Jonathan Taylor. He's strong. He'll break arm tackles, but he's not going to run somebody over and truck them over. It's not going to happen, at least not in the film I saw. So let's hop in now to this. Here's his in-depth breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at this. I grade him on the scale. So real fast, let me go back here too, because I didn't explain this well. He scored a 72%. 72% of the points that were possibly, there's 100% possible points that can be scored. He scored 72% of the possible points. So again, you're going to see some people probably in like the 50s or 60s. That doesn't mean that they have a failing grade. Okay. If you score 50% of the points, that means you scored more than half. That means you got C's across the board. Okay. But if you get A pluses, of course, you're going to have 100. So a 72 is probably about a B plus average in most of the things. Here's his in-depth breakdown. Again, he scored 50% of the power grades, 75% of the elusive grades, 83% of the receiving grades, 83% of the physical grades, and 75% of the IQ and toughness grades. Let's hop into the next part. Here it is. Here's his actual breakdown. So you're more than welcome to hit pause. Look at this. Again, one time I was playing his, and then you guys will be able to hit pause and look at the rest. Speed, he got an A, right? So it shows you how fast he is. Trucking, not so high. Fight, you see a good fight grade, a good agility grade, a good catching grade, and a good vision grade. When you add all these up, it averages around a B plus to a B, which again comes out to being 73%. And that was a grade he earned here. 72, I'm sorry. Let's go to the next guy who scored the second highest according to the grade scale. Kenneth Walker. All right, 5'9", 211, 4.38 40. What? 4.38. Well, listen to my notes. This is right after I watched the film. I say something about his 40 time, and we'll see what happens. Let's hop right into it. This kid has great balance and it has a nice juke move. His combination of good balance and vision can allow him to have a few big runs a game. Can he do everything? He is he's pretty solid in everywhere, in every area. But I wanted to see his combine to see if he was truly fast and his speed really was. Because again, I honestly didn't think that he was that fast on film. He pulled away at times, but it didn't seem like he was as fast as Jonathan Taylor. Well, I'll tell you this much. I said, as of now, before I watched this combine, I said I lean to him having great vision and balance, and he can pop some big runs. No, he's a lot better than that. I'm going to be honest with you. He runs a 4.38 40-yard dash. Now, again, I still think he plays a little bit slower than 4.38 speed, but it shows you what he can do. And I mean, he might be one of the most elusive backs in the entire draft class. When he puts his foot in the ground, he's going to do a juke, and I mean, he's going to be about 5 yards on the other side of the field. Reminds me of DeAndre Swift in that aspect. I don't have their heights and weights listed, but I'll tell you something. I just thought of that now. Their elusiveness. I mean, when I watched DeAndre Swift, I said, holy crap, this guy's elusiveness is crazy. Kenneth Walker has the same thing. Now, again, what are his strengths? Great balance, great juke move, great change of direction, probably the best in the entire draft of the running back position. He has phenomenal vision and great agility. He doesn't fight for extra yards. Usually when he gets tackled or gets wrapped up or he's in a pile, he's not pushing the pile, and he doesn't truck nobody over. He doesn't run nobody over. He didn't have a lot of catching in college, right? He didn't catch the ball a lot in college. I don't knock his catching because of that, right? Just like Jaret Patterson, I learned something. Jaret Patterson went into the preseason last year and was catching everything. So just because they don't catch the ball a lot in college doesn't mean they can't catch. When he was throwing the ball, he caught it smoothly. He doesn't have the greatest route running. But, I mean, again, with his agility, if you give him a screen pass, this guy might be able to break it for a big gain. So I really liked what I saw from Kenneth Walker. He earned 69% of the points, possibly allowed to be scored. Here's his in-depth breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at this. And you see his elusive grade is very good. And here you go. Here's this. Again, his speed's very good there. And his agility is very good there. And his vision is very good. The issue with him is these other areas, right? His fight, his trucking. It's going to lower down his overall grade. But that doesn't mean that's going to lower down my personal analysis on him. Next kid, Isaiah Spiller. 6 foot, 217. A non-official 4.6, a 4.6 40-yard dash, not at the combine. Let's see what I say about him. This kid is a stay behind his blockers, one cut, then pop kind of a runner. If there's a hole, Spiller is going to find it. His vision is great, but his hesitancy, holy crap, at times will allow him to get tackled for a loss as he bounces around too much in the backfield. He is also a strong runner, so going to push forward on some runs. His ability to catch balls out of the backfield makes him versatile. He can do a little bit of everything. Did not have a huge college workload, so it's going to be interesting to see how he turns out. Now, let's hop into his strengths. He stays patient. Stays patient is great, but it's also a weakness sometimes. So staying patient, like Lev Bell, right, allows you to see those holes and find the right hole, but sometimes it allows someone to fly through another opening and tackling in the backfield. So that's a strength and a weakness. He's a one cut guy who stays patient with some great vision. And when he uses that hole, when he finds that hole, if anyone's going to try to arm tackle him, it's not going to work because he's a strong runner. Okay, these strengths all add up together to show you how he can make a big play happen. And he can catch the football out of the backfield. He does it very well. His weaknesses, he's not going to run somebody over with trucking, and he's a hesitant runner. At times, he's going to be tackled in the backfield because he's too hesitant. Okay, he earns 69% of the possible points allowed to be scored. And now let's hop into these. Here's his in-depth breakdown. You're more than welcome to take a look at this. Again, really average in most areas. Again, 50%, that's not bad. Okay, everyone says, 50, that sucks. I mean, it's an F. How you can only score half the points? It's not Madden, ladies and gentlemen, where an 80 overall is like okay, and a 70 is like no. It is 73, 68 on this is a really good grade to get. Okay, for all my positions, really. All right, so here's my in-depth breakdown, and here you go. Here's a really big-time breakdown. If you want to look at this more than watching, you see the vision really pops out on screen with an A minus. And again, he's just hesitant, finds his holes, and goes. He do everything, man. Everything you ask him to do, he can do. So wait until you see my personal analysis. We'll see where I rank him. Next guy, Kyren Williams, earned 68% of the possible points. Let's see what I say about him. This kid is really shifty with great balance. He has a nice stiff arm and is great at finding a hole. He bounces around the line of scrimmage a little too much for my liking, but he does find holes this way. Okay, so doing it is that's how he creates his holes. I mean, sometimes he does it a little bit too much, but he finds his holes that way. Catches balls out of the backfield and can line up at times as a receiver. Not a fantastic or a great route runner, but he can do a little bit of everything, which makes him a decent prospect. His best ability is his shiftiness. Ran a 4.65 40 time, which is not great at all. Seems faster on film, though, but his speed was dropped, which is affecting his grade. He actually ranked really high for me, but after the combine and all that, I had to lower his speed grade down a little bit. Because it just, I mean, a 4.65 is not a good 40 time at all. I know 40 doesn't mean everything, but it means something, and it's going to affect your grade a little bit. I thought this dude was going to run in like the upper 4.4s. He ran a 4.65. That's not what I was expecting. Strength. I see extreme shiftiness from him as well. He has great balance. He has a good stiff arm, right? He can stiff arm away from people. That's something that you haven't seen much from other guys so far. Good catching out of the backfield. I'm pretty sure this guy caught around 40 balls. I don't really look into statistics much, but for some reason, I do remember seeing that. I could be totally wrong. Again, I don't look at stats to judge my film. I literally watch film, and that's all I do, but I do remember seeing that somewhere, I believe. And he can line up as a receiver. And again, this just adds versatility to him. Can use him multiple different ways. Weakness, trucking. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Almost everybody on this video is going to have a weakness be trucking. Trucking is a thing that not most people can do the way that I want them to be able to do it, or that's even possible, that most people anticipate that they can do it. So most people's weakness is going to be trucking. Let's hop into this now. Here's his in-depth breakdown. You're more than welcome to take a look at it. And here's a breakdown here. All right, so we look at this here. Again, look at this. Sorry for the dogs in the background. I'm not going to stop it right now. I'm just going to keep on going. I got to keep talking here. If you hear them, I'm sorry. Lower down your volume. Do something. I'm going to try to talk a little bit louder. So if you got to lower me down, go ahead. Here we go. In-game speed again. You see that he's not so great. Trucking not so great again. Agility not bad at all. Catching good. Vision good. All right, so he's a decent prospect. Now let's go in to the fifth guy according to just the grade scale itself. Let's hop in right into it. Bryce Robinson Jr. He scores a 68 grade. Again, that means 68% of the possible points he earned. He's 6'2", 225, and ran a 4.53. 4.53 is 6'2", 225. Not terrible at all. So let's see what I got to say about him. This kid is a team player. He blocks great for his quarterback and pass protection, which is something that gets unnoticed in my grading chart. I'm not going to give him bonuses in the grade for blocking, right? I don't have that as a grade, but I just note that down in my personal analysis that this guy can block phenomenally. He has a great protection IQ, which can easily make him fly up draft boards. One guy that comes to mind when I think of a good blocking running back is Josh Jacobs. He flew up draft boards. He wasn't the number one running back over there in Alabama necessarily. It was really Dameon Harris. But the Raiders, Mike Mayock and John Gruden, they had a cut up of him blocking and stuff, and they said, I need pass protection for Derek Carr, and they draft Josh Jacobs. So here we go. This can make Brian Robinson fly up draft boards. This kid has a great burst of acceleration. He fights for extra yards, has a great ability to put his foot on the ground and cut up field. He does not lose yards often and is a one-cut back. He does not have four short hands. He does bobble some balls, but he can catch decently. Okay, so strengths. He's a team player, all right? He can protect the quarterback. He has a great burst of acceleration. He fights for extra yards, and he really doesn't lose many yards. He's going to at least get you back to the line of scrimmage, which is something that all coaches want to say. His weaknesses, he can catch the ball, but he's not smooth with it. At times, he does bobble a little bit. Reminds me of Leonard Fournette kind of in college at times, where he bobbles some balls. I do feel like he's a much better catcher than Leonard Fournette. But again, you got to say it, he doesn't always catch it smoothly. So it's something you got to note down when you're going through the film. Let's go in now to the in-depth breakdown. Here you go. You're more than welcome to look at this. Hit pause if you have to. And let's go in down to his actual breakdown now. Here it is. Nothing in the A's, really just B average here for this guy. Brian Robinson Jr. I mean, his physicals are good. 6'2", 225, 4'5'3", big, powerful kid. We'll see what he can do in the NFL. If he can get it all together. I mean, again, really well-balanced guy. If you want to take a chance on a kid that has really good physicals and that can do a little bit of everything, this may be your guy this year. Let's hop into the next guy. Rachaad White, 68th grade. Let's see what I say about him. This kid is a big back who can break tackles. He has a ton of catches in college, which is great. This guy can be a dual threat in the backfield. I would not consider him the greatest runner, but his size and catching ability makes him have a lot of potential. He was somebody I thought was going to be around 6'1", 6'2" on film. Turns out that he was only 6 foot. He looks a lot bigger than what he is. 6 foot 214, but again, that's not bad. We're in a 4'4", 840. 4'4", 840 is not bad, but it's not much better than Brian Robinson either, right? Brian Robinson ran a 4'5'3" and was 2 inches taller and 11 pounds heavier. But that's not going to knock Rachaad White at all. This guy is an absolute monster when it comes to receiving the football. He has a lot of catches on his film, really a dual threat, can break tackles, has phenomenal catching, and he has great potential. If you can put it all together, this guy could be one of those guys that we look back at from a few years from now and say, all right, yeah, he's special. And I'm not going to say this here and sound like a dope, but I'm going to put it like this. I remember Christian McCaffrey a few years ago coming out of the draft, and Christian McCaffrey was a guy who wasn't the biggest guy. He wasn't, considered a great runner of the football, but he could catch the ball a lot. Rachaad White is just that, not the biggest guy. He's 6 foot. I thought he was bigger on film, but he can catch the hell out of the football. And if he can get the running pieces together like McCaffrey could, we could be seeing somebody not as good as McCaffrey, but somebody that is like McCaffrey, a Walmart version of McCaffrey. And that's not a knock. Maybe his potential is McCaffrey. I'm not going to say that. Okay. That's crazy to compare a young kid to McCaffrey right out of the, gates. But again, he has a great catching ability. I would be shocked if a team doesn't at least use him as a receiving back in the NFL. Come in, change a pace back, catch a ball on third down, see what he can do. Here's his in-depth breakdown. Again, you're more than welcome to hit pause, take a look at that. And here's his breakdown. Again, you just see his catching is one of the best. Great route runner, good catching, and he has decent speed to go along with it. I really love watching this film. Next guy is Dameon Pierce, 67. 5'10", 218, 4'5'9". This kid is interesting. I want to see his 40 time. He's extremely elusive, up there with some of the best in his draft class, if not the best. He can run multiple routes and is good at avoiding tacklers. The biggest question I have about him is his speed. It does not seem like breakaway speed. Never had a huge workload in college either. Well, now again, I told you, he ran a 4.59. Now again, my notes are based on just film. So at the time, before I looked at his 40 time, because I did a scouting before that 40-yard dash and all that, I said, this guy does not seem like he has breakaway speed. Then he runs a 4.59, and that just confirms he does not have breakaway speed at all. He's extremely elusive. He has good route running, and he can catch, but he never had a huge college workload. That's a strength and a weakness. Strength doesn't have a lot of wear and tear. Weakness, we don't really know if he can do that a lot. We don't know if he can be that special for a long time over a few seasons. 5'10", 218. I know this guy is one of the strongest guys. I remember watching something not too long ago saying like he can squat like 500 pounds or something. It was just something crazy. And I remember Rondale Moore showed the same thing before his saying. And again, his weakness is breakaway speed. He doesn't have it. He doesn't truck nobody over. And again, not a huge college workload. So it's something to look into for sure. It's a strength. It's a weakness. I'm going to allow you guys to choose what you want to call it. And we'll move on. I'll give you my personal analysis when it's all said and done. Here's his in-depth breakdown. And here's his breakdown. So if you wonder again how these guys are getting their grades they are, well, here it is. These are exactly why they get the grade that they do on the grade scale. Again, has nothing to do with my personal analysis. Next guy, Jaylen Warren, okay? 5'8", 204, 4'5", 540. This kid has a great burst of acceleration. He can break big runs, really uses his blockers well. He may truly have the best vision in the entire draft class. He just threads his way through the defense. What are his strengths? Bursts of acceleration. He uses his blockers really well. He has phenomenal vision, and he has really good agility. His weakness is he's not going to trick nobody over, and he doesn't really fight for extra yards. At 5'8", 204, I don't expect him to be breaking a lot of extra tackles and fighting for extra yards and blah, 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 blah. But when I tell you that he has great vision, great agility, and he uses his blockers probably better than I've seen anybody in this draft class. I mean, downfield, this dude will slow down just to cut back to get behind his blockers. And I mean, he just threads his way through the defense. Now, again, does he have the natural ability? No, he's not, doesn't run a 4.4 or a 4.3. He's not 6 foot tall, this, that, and the other thing. But what he is, he does impress me on film. Okay. So his physicals don't impress me, but his film, I'll be lying to you if I told you that it doesn't impress me. Here's his in-depth breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at it. And here's his other breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at it. And again, you just see that vision rate. I mean, it is one of the highest, if not the highest in the draft class. Here's the next guy, James Cook, brother of Dalvin. Let's see what I say about him. This kid is a well-rounded back. He's an elusive back who is also good at running routes and catching the football. If he is given a chance in the NFL, I think he will only get better over time. His number one threat is his elusiveness, with his receiving playing a close second. Okay, there you go. There you go. He can run. He can catch. He's elusive. He's a decent route runner. He can do a little bit of everything. James Cook, 5'11", 199, runs a 4.42. 5'11", 199. 199. That may be so far out of all the guys I mentioned, besides Kyren Williams, he is the, smallest back weight-wise, okay? But you look at his strengths, well-rounded, catch, run. He's elusive, has really good route running and good catching. This guy, again, right out of the gates, maybe he doesn't get a starting job, but he'll make his presence be felt. He can catch out of the backfield. He runs really good routes, and he's not a bad runner at all. His only weakness, in my opinion, is trucking, right? He's not really the greatest trucker. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see what goes on. So let's go on to the next part now. We're going to be talking about the in-depth breakdown. You're more than welcome to hit pause and take a look at this. And last but not least, the breakdown. Here you go. In-game speed, trucking, fight, agility, catching, vision. Take a look. Really good speed. Ran a really good 40 to match that. And catching and agility and vision all in the B area. Just, he doesn't really fight for extra yards that great. And his trucking's not the greatest. But again, I say that I think that he can only get better over time. So we'll see what happens. Jerome Ford, Cincinnati. Okay. 5'10", 210, runs a 4.46. I'll be honest with you. I thought this dude was going to run in the 4.3s from his film. This kid has good speed and is very elusive. His combination of speed and elusiveness helps him break big runs. This guy has a lower fight rate simply because he is a smaller running back. It is not because of a lack of effort, but he struggles pushing the pile. That's just a fact. I absolutely do not question his on-field effort. This guy can pop a big run to change the game, but he needs to have more consistent running. If he goes to a team with a good blocking, he could be a top running back in this class with his breakaway speed. Again, 4.46 on film. I mean, on the combine, in my opinion, he's not 4.46 on film. I felt like he was faster. So again, I use a combine as a way to get a hard database, a hard number, just so I don't really lean. But he did run a slower 40 than I was anticipating. His strengths, great speed and elusiveness. Weaknesses, trucking and fighting for extra yards. Again, it's not a lack of effort. He does not fight for extra yards because of a lack of effort, which some guys do. It's for him, it's just lack of size. He's not a big guy. Again, 5'10", 210. He's actually, he measured in better than I thought he was going to, but he just gets taken down pretty easily, to be honest. His in-depth breakdown, here you go. And here's his actual breakdown. Again, you see the speed, just absolutely the highest thing that he has, and his agility pretty decently high as well. Kennedy Brooks, 5'11", 209, and a 4.59. This kid has great balance. He can break arm tackles easily and has pretty good vision. His balance is his greatest asset, and he seems to follow his blockers well. He does a great job bouncing off tacklers. Very fun to watch. If he's drafted to a team with a good offensive line, he can probably be special. Okay, so again, a lot of these guys, it really comes down to where they get drafted, good offensive line or not. I mean, looking at him right here, I'm going to be honest with you. He looks pretty thick. He looks like a thicker guy, runs a 4.59. To me, he could be something decent. 5'11", Noah also was 5'11". I mean, just looking at this picture here, kind of reminds me of, in my opinion, he's a little bit, not as heavy, but kind of reminds me of Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's also 5'11", 220 something. Kennedy Brooks, 5'11", 209, not the fastest guy. I don't know what Nick Chubb's 40 time was, but Nick Chubb, man, on film is just way faster than I believe probably his 40 time was. Here's his strengths, man. Great balance, follows blockers really well. This is something that's really underrated, in my opinion. You got to be able to follow your blockers. Good trucking and fights for extra yards. Holy crap. Did I just say good trucking? Yes. He's one of the first guys that can actually truck people over, and he fights for extra yards. Weaknesses, not the most agile guy in the world, and his catching's not necessarily the greatest either. Here's his in-depth breakdown. And here's this as well if you want to take a look at this. Here is Mr. Teague. 6 foot 226, not official 4'4", 440. His height and weight's also not official because he didn't have his official measurements at the combine. On film, this guy looks so damn fast. This kid is a one-cut explosive running back. He makes one cut and then he pops a big run. He has a low center of gravity and can push the pile. Although he is a smaller running back, so he can push the pile. Although he is a smaller guy, he can change the game by popping one big run because of his amazing speed. His speed on film looked great. 4.44, not bad, but it was not what I was expecting. I was expecting a 4.3 again. He has a great one-cut ability, one cut then go. He's an explosive runner. He can pop a big run at any given moment. He has great speed, and he also fights for extra yards. Again, catching's one of his weaknesses. Now, again, what do I mean on this? He's not a great route runner. He's not a top-tier route runner. He's not one of the best for short hands. But again, he's not going to drop every ball. When I say weakness is catching, it doesn't mean he's going to drop everything. It just means that it's not one of his strengths. And I wouldn't consider him, average at it. So he's slightly below average at catching as well. Here's his in-depth breakdown. And here's his actual breakdown. Again, speed, you see, just absolutely tearing away. And again, some of these running backs, I mean, depending on who the analyst is doing it, or the expert scouter, a lot of these guys, man, it comes down to what you value. I value speed high, but I also want to see you be able to do other things. Chuba Hubbard looked fast on film last year, wasn't able to do much else. Next guy, Hassan Haskins. Look at this nasty stiff arm, man. Big guy. I mean, this guy is one big guy. 6'2", 228. Okay, he's a large individual. This kid is interesting. He likes to hurdle defenders. He loves to jump over the pile on the goal line. These are two great traits to have. He uses his power and his running style around the goal line. He does not have great breakaway speed, but he could also be utilized in the red zone. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy runs in the 4.7s, to be honest with you. I mean, he does not seem fast at all, in my opinion. Did not run a 40 at all. Not during his pro day, not during the combine, nothing. He hurdled. Only guy really on film that I really saw hurdle that I had to jot down. For 6'2", 228, that's special. Great power running, good goal line back because he can catch a little bit, and he has power, and he can hurdle over the pile and everything. So he has a little bit of everything like that. Good trucking, and he fights for extra yards, and clearly here he has a nice stiff arm as well. Weakness, doesn't have great breakaway speed, and he's really not agile at all. Here's his in-depth breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at it. And here is the breakdown individually here. Say speed. Again, I give him, I believe, what is that? B+, does that say? Sorry, I got my thing in the way. Yes, a B+ for there. Again, and you see these other things, B-, 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 and a B. B+ speed, again, you want to be in that A range. I gave him B+, being lenient towards them. So he might honestly get a higher grade than usual, but I really wouldn't be shocked if he runs in the 4.7s, to be honest with you, fellas. All right, here we go. Next guy, Abram Smith. Abram Smith. Look at this guy's face right here. He's running in the friggin' end zone. Touchdown. Huge play. Let me tell you something. This guy is full steam ahead, okay? 6 foot, 213, full steam ahead. He is running the football to hurt the defender at times. And I'm dead serious about this. Full steam ahead. He has good speed when he finds a hole, and he tends to gain some of the tough yards, okay? I mean, this guy can gain the tough yards. This guy is the definition of the power back, and I listed right here under his strengths. Definition of a power back. There's no doubt about it. That's what he is. He has a good burst of speed. He gains the tough yards, and he's really good at trucking. His weaknesses. He's not the most agile guy in the world. And again, I would not recommend making him a receiving guy, right? He can catch here and there, but I mean, he's not the best receiving back in the world, okay? But he can catch. But again, this guy's the definition of a power back. Full steam ahead. He's going to run somebody over, move out of the way, or else you're going to be laying on your back. Here's his in-depth breakdown. You're more than welcome to look at this. And here's this. Again, in-game speed, B+. Trucking's a B. That might be the best in the draft class. And the rest is history. 2 guys left, ladies and gentlemen, so just stay tuned. We're almost done with this. Running back grade 63 for C.J. Verdell. This kid was on my board last year, and he received a higher grade. Throughout his college career, his workload has slowly actually decreased. Look, it decreased. And I look at it here, and I say, you know, throughout his college career, his workload decreased, which has dropped his draft grade. His film looked great last year, and his film this year looked decent. I think that there is potential there, but it's only if a team is willing to give him a chance. Look, strength, good speed, good trucking, and he fights for extra yards. Weakness, agility. He didn't have the greatest agility this year, which was shocking. I mean, again, it just is the decrease in working. It just really kind of confused me. Last year, I had him ranked pretty high, and he didn't declare. And now look at this, fell down the board. Here's his in-depth breakdown, and here's his breakdown here. You see his highest thing is his speed. And then here's this, Zonovan Knight, the guy that got the lowest grade according to my grade scale. This guy has good straight line speed, hits the hole explosively, not the most elusive back in the world. He is going to try to beat you with straight line speed and hitting the hole hard and fast. He does try to stay on his feet, but he's not a great power back either. He is one of the most, I mean, he is one of those in-betweeners. Good straight line speed, hits the hole hard, fights for yards. Weakness, trucking, agility, vision. Okay, that's Zonovan Knight. I don't think he's going to turn out to be a starting running back in the league. If I'm wrong, well, then so be it. Here's his in-depth breakdown. Here's his farther breakdown. If you want to hit pause, you're more than welcome to look at that. Here we go. Here's my categories now. I put everybody in a category at the running back position. So tier 1 categories, we got one called bruiser. I gave Abram Smith and Hassan Haskins. I list them as both power backs, and they're listed under the bruiser category. Elusive tier 1, nobody. Elusive receiving tier 1, nobody. Tier 1 physical specimen, nobody. Tier 2 category, bruiser and a workhorse. I give this award to Brian Robinson, who's a 1-cut back, and Kennedy Brooks, who I consider a power back. These 2 guys fit the mold of a bruiser and workhorse. Again, Brian Robinson is a little bit more of a 1-cut back, while Kennedy Brooks is a little bit more of a power back. But these 2 can both be bruisers and workhorses in the NFL, in my opinion, and they classify under tier 2. The bruiser and physical specimen, the guy that can run somebody over, but also quick in tier 2 category, can do a little bit of both. C.J. Verdell, and he's pretty much good at everything. Is a jack of all trades, but not a specialist in any. Next guy, tier 2 category, bruiser and receiver, or goal line specialist, I call this, Rachaad White. This guy can catch the ball, and he's a bruiser. He's a goal line specialist. You get a guy that can run somebody over in the goal line, hurdle a pile, or catch the ball out of the backfield. That is literally what I consider a goal line specialist. Rachaad White fits that mold, and he also classifies as the tier 2 category. Tier 2 category, elusive and a workhorse. These guys are a workhorse running back that's elusive. I give this to Kenneth Walker and Jaylen Warren. Both of these guys are extremely elusive, and they can both be workhorses in the NFL. Kenneth Walker is more of a 1-cut elusive running back, while Jaylen Warren is just an elusive and an explosive running back, elusive workhorse running back. So let's go to the next one. We got tier 2 category, elusive and physical specimen. I give this to Jerome Ford. He's an elusive, explosive back. Elusive first, but then going like that. I mean, he flies. He's elusive and he's quick as hell, and he gets the tier 2 category. Tier 2 category named elusive and receiving running back. That's Dameon Pierce. This guy is extremely elusive and is a receiving running back. He's not going to beat you with speed, but again, I list him as an elusive receiving running back. And you got a receiving physical specimen running back, a tier 2 category, and that's James Cook. Extremely quick and can catch the ball. I consider him an elusive receiving running back. Elusive first, but can also receive. Get on the ball in a screen pass, the man can make a few guys miss and make a big play. Tier 3 category, an elusive receiving workhorse. I don't have anybody as that. Somebody that's listed as a bruising physical specimen workhorse. I do feel like Master T can be a bruising, physical specimen, workhorse, tier 3 running back. I know that's like a freaking tongue twister. I consider him a one-cut explosive running back, but he fits the mold. He matches the grade of a bruiser, a physical specimen. He's fast enough, and he has enough. He has a good workload that he can be considered a workhorse. And the all-around. There's 3 guys that they could do everything and matched all the tiers. The tier 4 specialist all-around running back. That's Breece Hall, Isaiah Spiller, and Kyren Williams. Breece Hall is a one-cut elusive running back. Isaiah Spiller is a one-cut elusive running back. Kyren Williams is an elusive receiving running back. So those are my categories. Now let's hop into the final parts here. Here are the guys that belong to no categories. They did not fit the mold. So the 2021 running back draft class, sorry, this is what I was supposed to say. Sorry, 2022 running back draft class. I'm sorry, I don't know why that says that. And they don't fit nowhere, okay? And here it is. Interesting. Nobody, it says these players do not meet the thresholds, but are deserving to be looked at. Nobody fits that mold. There's this one here that's understandable. Overrated prospects or players who do not deserve to be listed. This is understandable. Nobody's there. One guy that I figured that was going to make this list, and it was Zonovan Knight. His category is everything, in my opinion. He can do everything okay, but he's not good at anything. I figured he would not fit into a category. It makes sense. Not that good, in my opinion. I'm sorry. Zonovan Knight does not get a lot of love from me. Let's go here. Here's my my running back rankings according to the grade scale. This is the order that you saw in the video before. So Hall, Walker, Spiller, Williams, Robinson, White, Pierce, Warren, Cook, Ford, Brooks, Teague, Haskins, Smith, Verdell, Knight. And here's the 2022 draft class compared to 2021 via the grade scale. Using the same grade scale that I used last year and this year, I'm grading a little bit harder, though, it seems, in general. But here it is. I got Najee Harris ranked at 1, ETN 2, Hall 3, Williams 4, Mitchell 5, Walker 6, Spiller 7, Gainwell 8, Puga Williams 9, Javion Hawkins 10, but he also had off-field issues that was not considered. So I just put that in parentheses there for some of you guys to think about. Again, I don't think he was a terrible prospect, but his off-field issues definitely hurt him. 11, Kyren Williams, 12, Brian Robinson, and 13, Rachaad White. Again, this is the unbiased grade scale rankings. This is not my personal analysis. So let's hop into the next slide now. Here's a 2022 draft class compared to the 2021 via personal analysis. This is my own analysis now. I still feel like Najee Harris is the best running back in the last 2 draft classes. Then it goes Breece Hall. Then it goes Kenneth Walker. Then it goes Travis Etienne. Then it goes Williams. Then it goes Mitchell. Then it goes Spiller. Then it goes Robinson, Cook, Williams, White, Hawkins, Patterson, Stevenson, Pierce, Teague, Hubbard, Smith. This is the order of my personal analysis from last year's draft to this year's draft, bringing the top 18 guys. This is how I rank them personally. This is no longer my grade scale. This is how I would rank them. And again, this is me not changing last year's draft class either, right? So if I wanted to, I could just eliminate Hawkins. I had Hawkins ranked here last year. I can't move that now. Now he's locked in. So, but I do put people like Rachaad White and Kyren Williams and James Cook and Brian Robinson and Isaiah Spiller all above him. Here's my 2022 running back rankings personal analysis. This is my personal analysis for what I have it ranked as. And here it is. This is my final rankings, ladies and gentlemen. And again, I hate doing this, but this is what I got. Breece Hall 1, Kenneth Walker 2, Isaiah Spiller 3, Robinson 4, James Cook 5, Rachaad White 6, Kyren Williams 7, Dameon Pierce 8, Master Teague 9, Abram Smith 10, Kennedy Brooks 11, Hassan Haskins 12, Jerome Ford 13, Jaylen Warren 14, CJ Verdell 15, and Zonovan Knight 16. Here's my top 16, the guys in the order that I have. I feel like Breece Hall is by far the best all around and just in general running back in this draft class. The only concern would be how big of a workload he's had in college and what team he goes to. But if he goes to a team that's solid and has a really good offensive line, I mean, really, I feel like this guy could be the next Jonathan Taylor. That's been my comparison now for the last few weeks. Unfortunately, I didn't make a video on it because I like to get this out first. Kenneth Walker is extremely elusive. Again, he could be the best running back if he goes to a good team, but I just feel like the gap between Hall and the rest of these guys is huge. It is truly it's like Hall, blah, 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 everybody else. Okay, then blah, 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 some other people. But again, so Hall is my number 1 running back. I'm going to meet you guys now back on camera and talk to you about, a few of the viewer questions that you guys left me on Instagram. All right, now I'm back. Now here we go now. So a few of the questions that I got from some of the viewers here is, one thing is What running back is a running back that I would take? And again, that is Breece Hall. That's why I have him ranked as number 1. If they're all in the same situation, I think Breece Hall is going to be the best running back in this draft class. And it's truly not even close. Now, again, if Breece Hall goes to one of the worst teams in the league with a terrible offensive line, and then you got like Kenneth Walker or, Isaiah Spiller go to a team that has a really good offensive line, well, then their career trajectories change. My job to you is tell you who I would draft as an organization, who I would take as the best prospect. Okay. Now, again, each team has their different schemes and this, that, and the other thing, and they got to match that as well. But my thing is that at the end of the day, the best player there, if you have to take the best prospect, it is Breece Hall. I don't care the guy gets out of the league in a year and a half and he's terrible. It's that he right now is the best prospect. He has the most potential out of everybody. Kenneth Walker is good. If Kenneth Walker goes to a team that has a really good offensive line and Breece Hall doesn't, I think they would have very similar careers, to be honest with you. I think Breece Hall is that much better than Kenneth Walker. But again, if one guy goes to it's just all over the place. Okay. You guys gotta understand that that's something that a lot of people say, oh, your rankings were off. Well, they also went to a terrible situation. And again, you'll hear my projections for their careers in the draft grades video. I'll tell you if I think they're going to do good or bad or what's going to happen there. All right. So that's that. Number 2 is who's your guys this year? Who are your guys? The guys that nobody's talking about, right? So of course I love Breece Hall. Breece Hall is my guy. Besides that, I Kyren Williams, I really like Rachaad White. Rachaad White's another guy, a guy that can catch the ball like crazy. James Cook is another one. And I have a lot this year. It's actually crazy. James Cook. All right, I'm going to be honest with you. James Cook, Kyren Williams. And I'm going to go 3 this year. I like Brian Robinson too, but I'm not going to put him there. James Cook, Kyren Williams, and I'll do one for my 3rd tier. I'm going to go Abram Smith. I'm going to go Abram Smith for my 3rd. Those are my 3 guys this year. When I watch those films, those guys have stuck in my head the entire time because when I watched them, I really liked what I saw on the tape, and I didn't take any of the other stuff into consideration, and nor do I really ever. I mean, most of this scouting is purely just the tape I watched. That's all, not anybody else's opinion and stuff. But for some reason, those 3 guys, their names have stuck in my mind for a long time. And one other guy I'm going to throw out there too, just let's throw it on the wall and see if it sticks. Master Teague. Master Teague on film looked really good. And again, you saw my tiers that he listed, like he matches a lot of the categories. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. There's my scouting for running back this year. If you have any questions, be sure to leave a like, subscribe. We'll see how I do at the end of the year. See you guys soon. Peace. We are Built Better.